How is everybody? I just finished watching the Ten Commandments. And it's so insane what's inside of there. And I don't know if they changed around any words. But every time they spoke to the people, they kept calling it Israel. And Israel. Israel is not a country, it's a nation. It's a nation without a country. They are the wandering Jew as they left Pharaoh. They are still the wandering Jew, so unsure in the Middle East because they think they should live everywhere in the Middle East because they were actually always based in where? In Egypt, where Pharaoh was? Like, I'm not looking this up yet, so whatever I say right now is only a guess, a hypothesis, a hope, a disparity. I do not know. But they weren't all slaves because from Meridian, when he got caught down in Meridian where Mount Sinai was, they were free there. Anyways, that's at least the way I understood Moses and Mount Sinai. So Mount Sinai, MT, okay, M is the 13th letter, and T is the 20th letter. Total of 33, command and create. The 33 of God or the 33 of Christ? Which 33? It's the energy. You see, you don't have a 33 of Christ right here. You know why? Because the 33 of Christ goes straight down this way. See the way you only see the 4? See the way you only see the 4? It's a 6. And the reason for that is because the center 2 are in the spirit position. It's called the Christ position. And then the other one goes this way. When you turn the dice this way, you see the 4 again. Because the energy of Christ is coming from north or south and going north or north and going south. The same way as the energy of Christ breaks down at a 90-degree angle and it goes this way or it goes this way. And one of the easy ways to show that is I'm just turning this part of Rubik's Cube, okay? But when I turn it this way, I'm turning this part of Rubik's Cube, okay? So different sections go together with this. So since this works so fantastic, and this was a big seller, you think working a hypothesis off a Rubik's Cube will count? If you actually look at all the cubes, okay, there are only, like up here, there's only 9. And then down here, there's only 9. 9 and 9 is 18, right? And then this one and this one on this side are the same. So each corner would actually be counted as 1. So you have 4 corners and 4 in the middle is 8. 8 and 18 total 26. But yes, this is a cube. Shouldn't it have 27? What's going on? There's something missing here. Second thing, like I told you, if we would chop off all the corners, we would have a 4D octagon. At the same time, if you chop off one of these corners, each corner becomes halved, and that's how you create. Remember I told you 1973, these numbers are all 0.5 or halved or whatever, whichever way. And one of the reasons also that they're halved is to understand that man, being Earth, okay, Earth is the letter E for the 5th planet, but Earth is the 3rd planet, 3 and 5, creation of man. And 3 is halved, and that's one of the reasons man can't actually live on Earth. I mean, he lives on the Earth, but not on that planet because he is the Earth. We are Earth. And then again, don't forget, it's all hypothetical guess, and I'm just trying to figure out the whole thing. So like I said, anyways, man is halved on this corner. The 9 is Pluto, and that's halved. The 7 is Uranus, and that's a corner, and that's halved. And the other one is Mercury, and that's halved. Why are they sort of halved? Because the opposite corners work with each other, making them a whole in between. It also says Mount Sinai, and MT or backwards would be actually the trademark of Sinai, if he is born. Mount Sinai says the birth, because Spanish it says si, Okay, and I have to tell you what my terminology of C, being yes and if, and NAI in Mount Sinai. Okay, my terminology, my letters, my letter put together of the word. Nay in French is to be birth. N is a passage between C, spirit I, and angel I. The N is the pass between S and I and A and I. So it's Mount Sinai. So I can put this together to work that the greatest birth came from Mount Sinai. Okay, so in all actuality, if Israel did own everything, well, they should own whatever is between here and here. Oh, the name of the places? I don't know. I can give you the dots, the coordinates. Okay, and then it says they walked through the desert for 40 years. They were slaves for 400 years. So actually 40 years is the angel of X, which means the angle of X, which is man, and the angle that he lives, X is 10. So whichever way you get your 10, 2 and 8, or 4 and 6, that'll be your 4 times X equals 40, Roman numerals. Because this is done in Roman numerals, and all the ways you can count, it can be done. I try to base it on the basis of Greek Roman numerals, the English, the French, etc., like in my other cassettes. It says the nation of Israel. Again, I'm going to say it. Israel is a nation because Moses at the end, he says to Joshua, proclaim liberty to all inhabitants of the land throughout the world. Moses said everybody should know what liberty is. So Israel must stand for liberty, and it's not a land, and it can never be a piece of land. It's like anonymous. You can never have really a piece of land and call it Israel according to the way the Ten Commandments ended. Did you get my drift? I'm going to explain it again. If you don't like it, well, all you have to do is see how much time is left and then shut it off. Okay? So Moses wants them to proclaim Israel because that's the way he set it up in the Ten Commandments. Like I said, Israel is a nation. It's not a piece of land, but sometimes nations take upon themselves to protect a piece of land, then calling it their own land, but it's really not their land. And that's one of the reasons the Palestinians are on that land, because it also belongs to the Palestinians. What God wanted them to do as an Israeli nation, Israel has a 64 letter count, okay? Israel, the IS, right, is actually Area 51. The S in Israel is the spirit. And it's real. It's the spirit within us that creates and keeps together the nation that should solidify the people. Because all Moses wanted when he went up to Mount Sinai again, he says, just go proclaim liberty. And he says, this is what he says, there is no freedom without the law. There is no liberty without the law. He said that unless when God gave us the commandments and the 5 books of Moses, we had to study that so we can understand what liberty is, because there's a law in liberty. And I've said it before, there's a law in liberty. Everything has its own law. It's the way it works. Not here to explain it right now. If you want, I can. I can explain anything I want. Whether you accept my explanation is something to be seen in the future, but you don't have to. We all have a different point of view, a different way to view, therefore accelerating and changing and not allowing certain points of view because of the tools we use in which to create the point of view in order to see it the way we want, because we don't know any different, because we don't believe any different. When your belief is so strong that you go up to Mount Sinai and you don't come down for 40 days, is because you know what? It's you can't live without the love of the God unless when you're connected to that love. Once you leave it, you are going to feel empty and like shit because you know it's the law. It's very hard to believe in the law. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to believe in the law of God, just like we don't believe in any of the laws in America anymore. and here in Canada. Like, you know what law I really don't understand, and I'm completely off course? Everybody has to be taxed. Somehow it's a law. Did they say that in the Torah, that we must be taxed? Now, I'm not joking around with you. You must be taxed. Part of your labor that you are going to do when you show up at work has to be taxed. You must pay for things that must get done within the total society of the world. Every man must pay. Otherwise, how we can see it is you have a farm, you farm your stuff, you get your food, you farm your stuff, you get your food, you farm your stuff, you get your food for 50 years, but you ain't got more than farming your stuff and eating your food. So what I'm saying by this is, in this world, you get to go to work, bring home your stuff, buy your food, take your shower, and turn on a TV, drive your car, go to your friends, a baseball game, all these things. Well, forget about the baseball. You could have did that 100 years ago. But you couldn't drive your car and go downtown, so you took your horse. Now you need more money to pay for these things. But there is some people with a little bit extra. And for the people who can't do these things, someone has to help them. And we can say to ourselves, well, why don't they go to their families? Well, maybe their families don't have enough to help them, because in this day and age, most families don't have farms. If it was a farm, they plant an extra seed, they can feed an extra customer. But they ain't planting it if they can't use it, because they don't want it to go to waste. So we have to help these people. So for whatever you have, the future, this is the way the future must work. It will work this way, and it must work this way. Another thing, no, I'm not going to jump onto the value stuff. It's going to work this way. It must work this way. It has to work this way. And you just can't jump off your rocker. Moses went up to the top of the mountain, and all of a sudden, everybody is out of line. They couldn't keep it together because they didn't have a leader. Was there something screwed up in this, in the movie Moses, the Ten Commandments? How real is the Ten Commandments? The people, after he goes up for 40 days, after he's seen what they did, they still went to the golden calf. Well, one of the reasons they went to the golden calf is they wanted to show us how easily we are persuaded to see somebody else's route and never giving a chance in time to someone else. So they see how low some of us can be. And the other thing is to sort of show us in the future how New World Order must take over, because we don't know what the hell we're doing. I know what I'm doing with my money. I certainly know what I'm doing with my money. And I got 30, 40 bucks till Thursday. I don't care. Well, I sort of do care, but I don't, because I'm going to drink my water. I went out and bought a juice today, and I'm going to try and make sure that juice lasts me until tomorrow morning. Cost me $1.33, I think. And I bought a little piece of meat, about not very heavy, 3 ounces. And I really don't want to eat that much, because if I put too much in my stomach's going to want more. I'm sort of down to the area of eating where I'm like a snake. I want my stomach to be no bigger than a snake curled up inside of me. And I don't want my stomach to get bigger to hold some food that I don't need the space being used inside of me. I want to use only basically what I must use and what I will need to use in the future for my own strength in my body. Feed my muscles. Keep away from overeating of basically anything. I drink as much as I want. I can eat as much as I want, but now my stomach is shrunk. When I eat a little bit extra, my stomach is saying, oh, I'm a little stretchy now. Can you just eat a little bit less? You know, my stomach has to talk to me. And I want to talk to my stomach. Like if I go out dancing, I can move really good when I feel my body's nice and slim. I know we're off the rocker in some other field that I've brought you in, but it's to show you, because it's not just everything that I say. It's got to be everything of who you are. You are you. Oh, wait a second. I'm getting confused here. Now, where's my brain? Wait, my body's moving. My body's moving. Who's making my body move? Stop moving. Stop moving. Slow down. Okay, good. Wow. Do you know if I just did this, what would it actually do if I did that? It's a W. It's also an M. Okay, so yes, my body is sitting on the chair. I've got maybe a couple of grams of brain controlling 165 pounds of body. Figure that one out. What do the Chinese think about that, or the Asian? Hey, Jackie Chan, what do you think about this? How strong do you think I am? 7 grams of my brain, 5 to 7 grams of my brain is controlling 165 pounds of my body. What's the worth? What's the worth? I'm going to check this out. Let's compare the grams to my weight, okay? So I guess 164 pounds I weighed myself yesterday, times a pound is 454 grams, equals to, divided by, let's say 7, equals, my brain is 10,636 times its size in accordance to the body it controls. And what's funny about that number, oh my God, is 10 is the 4 and 6, both the angle of the angel and man, okay, of 636. That used to be a lottery, which is the angle 6 of 3, which is the angel creation of man, and 3 and 6, which is the creation of man. And then it goes 0.57, or Heinz 57, in which is the triple-decker club sandwich, because 3 times 19 is 57 and is the birth of the one spirit, or what I call the 19 spirits. And altogether, in the same fashion, the S is the 19th letter in the alphabet, as 91 is the letter count for spirit, as there are 91 days to 4 seasons, plus 1.25, and so on and so forth. For wherever you want to go with a number, it's like a wandering Jew, because there's always an answer for wherever the number is in any desert of any time. Anyways, let's go back to Israel. So we all know it was real. We all know it's Area 51. Sinai letter count, 1928, the Beta Heaven. 28 and 14 is 42, man, angel, spirit, passage. And 42 and 1 for angel is 43, which means a whole one. Okay, 43 and 9. It equals to 52, and it stands for man. And the word 6, S-I-X, stands for 52. And there's 52 weeks in a year and a Mayan cycle. But the one thing people don't know, they tell you that there's 2 extra weeks in a year. 14 is the total. 2 is the beta world. In the 52 weeks, you get 2. That would be like 225. 2, 2, and 5, the 2 extra weeks you get of the 52 weeks. So 2, 2, and 5, if you want it, whichever way you want to look at it, what you have is 9 divisions of 25 each, in which is 25 years, 50 years, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, 200, 225, and your cube is done on one side. There's a lot of things. So, yeah, we were talking about the 52. There's 52 cards in the deck. But don't forget, you see, things are made to work in, can I say, in consequence with each other. Because 52 cards in the deck, plus the 2 jokers is 54, plus the 1 or 2 cards that come along with it to tell you the rules of the game, or to tell you that there's 52 cards in the deck. Do what the hell you want, right? Is that what they say? There's 52 cards in the deck on the extra cards. They do a little advertising. They say, do what you want. It all starts here. But they don't tell it to you, because you get the cards, and it's between you and whoever has the other joker that gets to decide. So Mount Sinai is 52, and M and T is 33, which is 6. So now you have 652. Or you can have any number you want. Where else am I in here? Another thing I want to show you is, this is the 9 card, right? This is the way the 9 card is set up. So if you follow the dots, okay, this turns into a V, meaning life. And this is the same thing over here. V meaning life. And what that actually shows you is this is the upper part, this is the lower part. You're using the same spirit. Okay? And this is V. Remember I told you we're number 5? This is the reason we're number 5. And one of the reasons I said we're 25 is because these are 4 and 5. And this is 4 and 5. Now this is to be turned this way and drawn 4 and 5 and 4 and 5 because it's all used up. Isn't that the way it works on a disc? You put the disc into the recorder, it's all used up. First it uses this side, then it starts out here and it goes in, you can jump over, it's all used up. Anyways, Israel is a 64 count, Sinai is a 52 count. Israel and the letter M have something in common. Mount Sinai and 6 have something in common. If you add 52 to 64, it totals 116. 116 has to do either with the initial letter for the months or of the days of the week, totaling to 116, which is an expression of spirit, angel, and man in this world, in the 6th world. And the reason for the 6th world is because all the angles. You can draw a bar. When you draw a bar, you're going to connect to something. But you always got to be sitting at either this angle or this angle or this angle. Otherwise, you'll be in between floors. Raphael. Do I have anything else to say? Anyways, that was the 9 card. Another thing I wanted to show you what would happen. Now, this is from Moses, the truth about the wandering Jew, the splitting of the ocean, the split sea, whole milk and cream. We no longer have whole milk and cream. The cow jumped over the moon. I'm just telling you what's in my mind right now that will be in the future. I've already had notations to this already in some places, noting that if you take the 2 6s together, okay, it turns into this. Now, I'm not quite sure what that is yet. Okay, I do not know. It could mean anything. If I turn it this way, okay, it says I see. If you turn it this way, well, all it does is come out to the 2 positions of this dice. So whatever you want it to be, I'm not bringing it any further because I'm stopping. What is it supposed to mean? It's supposed to show how do we actually get a 7th gate, right? Well, we get a 7th gate because there's 3 here and there's 3 here. Now, what I do in this thing over here is it's this is what I'm talking about. These 2. So you see this here? Follow 1, 2, 3, and then you go to the center. 4, 5, 6, 7. Over here, 3, 3, and the 1 in the center. This is what creates your pi. This is what creates the guide stones. It's these over each other because this dot and this dot are connected by this dot. So it's a complete slab, a complete stone. Otherwise, where you just see single dots, like on the corner, it means a piece of this and a piece of that. It's like taking your whole steak and cutting up your whole steak and then putting it back into position. If you had to sit it on top of something, you'd have to connect them all separately. Now, where am I going with this? I'm not quite sure, but there's something there. Maybe next month or the month after, I'll have the answer. Why do I talk like this? Because I'm not going to break my head. If it comes out into a situation where I can put it on paper, make a design of some sort in which I have the same thought, then and therefore I will see it differently, and within time we will have a greater definition of the internal what we were doing. So anyways, like I said, it seems like the Jewish people are a nation. That's why they're so strong, because they're actually connected anonymously to a shul here and a shul there. But is any shul actually getting all the money like the churches? You know what's going on? The wandering Jew, the truth of the Jew, he has no home. The orphan child, oh my God. Oh my God, the orphan child, my friends, shut me down right now. Don't watch me anymore. Turn on the roulette. Go look up roulette. You must find the single zero wheel. One of the wheels will say orphelin, orphelin. It means Morpheus. It means it's part of the Matrix name. Don't you remember Morpheus? Well, that says orphelin. It's almost like the same thing. Believe you me, I'm telling you, my mind connects most definitely. I am in my own world, okay? I am the God within my own world because I am the center of connection to the entirety from within me, between my two eyes, behind my nose, and between my ears, maybe up my ass, I don't know, but I'm my own brain. Israel has no nation. They bond together the same way you're watching my video now. They take part in synagogues with sometimes up to 1,000 or 2,000 people, maybe a little bit more. Well, at least not from where I am. But that's where we actually stick together. And then we stick together in business, but business has changed and it doesn't look that way anymore. Maybe that's why they had to create the Federal Reserve. Maybe that was part of the reason, to have a basis to sit themselves somewhere, because they actually have nowhere to sit. Anyways, let's go back to roulette. You'll see that when it says orphelin, the area there in the covered darkened space will have either a count in numbers of 57 or 75. And if you listen to it, 5775 is in 2 years from now, and it says orphelin. And that's talking about the Jews. I want to know, is there any other nation in the world that doesn't have a country? Greece is the Greeks, right? France is the French. England is the English. And where else? Russia are the Russians. Is that something? Is Russia? I'm a Russian. Does that mean you're not French? France? Well, what is France? Wait a second. Greek is Greek, but wait a second. None of them show actual religions. But the Hebrew is a religion. Israel is a nation. A nation normally supports the same laws. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a nation. Just like the Illuminatis. They support these laws. Well, the nation of Israel supports these laws. That's why they're a nation. And Moses said, tell everybody in all the land, proclaim liberty. And that's all it was. There wasn't anything else. Because at that point, when there is liberty in all the land, the wandering Jew now owns a piece and a part of this entire earth. And we be all come Jews, because we're always wandering in the shared lands amongst ourselves. It belongs to us regardless of who owns the paper. We need not know more. Like I said earlier on in this cassette, if you have a lot of money, you better start to be scared, because soon you're going to have to start to share, or your money is going to be scarce. Your money won't have any value. If all the poor get together and we bring up a new money that we use on ourselves, we don't need your money no more. But that's a big hypothetical thing, and that will happen, but it won't happen that way, because it would be insanity to begin with. We'd all be dead by the time things start to straighten out. You want to know when this world will be okay? Whoever is just born today, when he dies, this world will be pure. And everything around it will be pure. The next born child when he dies, will purify this world. Because we're not going through another 10 years like this. Is it my guess and hypothesis that this world can sustain the time within it lives? I'm so hyped up, I'm ready to jump into one of these protest signs. There's so many, but I protest from behind my desk. My ass hurts. I'm sitting here only 2 hours and my ass hurts. It's 10:15 where I am right now on the 9th of the 4th, which is the angel birth, 594 today at 10:17. The passage of the Queen. Jack comes upon us. Someone asked me if I am the wizard. I am most definitely the wizard of my world. I see and create from within not only what I use in my own judgment, my own knowledge, but in with truth and liberty. I join the words of God for the reason that, how can I say it? I join with the words of God that all should be liberty and no one should tell anyone else actually enslave them. It's not right. That was the thing in the Ten Commandments. Liberty, Israel the nation. So wouldn't we all want to be like the Israeli God, if that's what he said? Liberty to all the nations? Isn't that right? So wait a second, let's change this. Let's call it Law 101. Instead of calling it the Hebrew law, let's call it Law 101. Does everybody like Law 101? Okay. Okay. You don't want me to do no magic, eh? Because you know if I take the blanket off of 101, it says Hebrew God. So, doesn't matter what you're going to do, you cannot change it. It's more or less one of these things. If you have the 10 digits, what are the 10 first things the gods in the world have said within the first, let's say, 10 pages, then the first 5 pages, and narrow it down to the first couple of paragraphs? What did they say? And that's basically the way they were thinking, or that is the angle that these gods take. You see, it seems like the Hebrew God takes the angle of liberty and justice. But who the hell is he to tell us to have liberty and justice? I'm going outside now and I'm going to break up liberty and justice because I'm my God. Me and Joe Pesci, we'll go together and we'll get some baseball bats, right? But we all know that smashing cars or smashing pumpkins is not the way to go. You cannot be free if everybody's against you because of what you've done against them. Now you have to shorten your freedom because you know you're being watched. So unless you get the laws, and that's what Moses said, he says, I'm going up to get the laws. I have the 5 books, okay, on how to protect your freedom, basically those 5 books. Do you understand why it's how to protect your freedom? Because he says, how can you have any freedom if you don't know what it is to respect freedom? Freedom versus freedom. Understand? Freedom versus freedom. One of the reasons for that is because Freedom 55 reversed, okay, is Freedom 55. So therefore you can do it perfectly. They will both yin and yang together. They are the same numbers. But what's special about the word freedom is the letter count for freedom and the number for man, right, is, hold on, I'm busy looking for it, is this. 66. The letter count of freedom, F-R-E-M-E-T-H, freedom. F-R-E-E-D-O-M, free man. It's the free mode, if you read it really backwards. Freedom, 66. 66, the letter count of freedom. And it's always noted that it's Freedom 55. So 66 and 55 equals to 121. And 121 can be done as 11 times 11 equals 121. The 121st day this year is April 30th, and it's supposed to be known as Illuminati Day. The 121st year, 3 out of 4 years, is on May 1st, Illuminati Day. So May 1st, the 5th month, the 121st day equals 126, the one spirit of the queen of the card of the game, because that's what 26 represents. So then and therefore said, thus said, and freedom has been said. If you don't think there's a God and computers didn't exist before, whatever I do cannot be done on a program of any type of computer. Well, now it can. Now it could, right? Because I created it. If it works in my brain, the computer's got to be able to do it because I know what I'm doing. I am Raphael 7286. Well, we must stop. This is a book. Well, part of a diary also. So what was I thinking? Why did I say stop? Because I was thinking of my name, Ron. What? Pull. You see the way they pulled all those big statues for Pharaoh and Moses? Pull. What? Ron, pull. Okay, I'm going to pull. Ron, pull harder. Ron, pull. Ron, pull. Ron, pull. Ron Paul, pull Paul, pull Paul and run and pull, run, pull and jump, bringing out the libertarian independence paper, just a piece of paper. But when you follow what is written on this piece of paper, you fall in love with life all over again. It's very hard to be hardened all your life because you've always been cheated and you knew it. And you couldn't actually do anything about it because you knew nothing of life. But now it is time. The time has come upon us. We have a strong man, a smart man, a visionary. His name is Ron Paul. I believe that this man is the only man that can settle the future. The future comes within us, my friends. Be well.